Well, this course is basically meant to be an introduction to Java. And by introduction, what I mean is that it is both applicable to a beginning programmer, so someone who's really never programmed before. I'm going to teach you from the beginning some of these core programming concepts, but teach you them in Java, or just someone who's new to Java. And some of the concepts are going to be similar to what you've seen in other programming languages, but I'm going to show you how to do the things that you may already know how to do in Java. So really, either one of these categories is going to be able to benefit from this course. We're not going to go too much into the details or advanced Java, so even someone who is somewhat experienced with Java would probably be able to benefit in filling in some gaps and some understanding of the Java language, because Java is fairly big. Also, this is a two-part course, so this is the first part, and in this part we're going to really cover more of the basics, and then in the second part we're going to get into some of the more of the advanced stuff here. And really what we're going to cover in this course is the language. We're going to cover a little bit of some of the class libraries that are out there for doing mainly things like file I/O, and a couple of the other areas where it's important to know just to be able to function in Java. But the basic goal of this course is to make it so that you would be able to program in Java and be productive using the Java language. Now, to really be a Java developer, or to really succeed as a Java developer, you'll have to learn a little bit more of the platform and some of the technologies, but by the end of this course you should definitely be able to write some Java code and understand really the depth of the entire language. We're going to cover within the two parts really the whole Java language. And you know, Java is huge. We're not going to cover every single bit and every part of Java, and because Java is more than just a language, it's all these libraries, it's a lot of technologies, and this entire platform, we won't be able to cover that entire thing. But like I said, at the end of this course you should be able to program in Java and really have a good grasp of the language. So here are some of the topics that we're going to cover in this course. The first thing that we're going to do is talk about Java in general. Just a brief introduction to what Java is, just some hello world programming to get us started and to really break the ice with Java. Then we're also going to talk about variables and operators, how to use the variables, declare variables, types, and what kind of operators are available in the Java programming language. We're going to go into classes. I'm going to show you how to construct some classes and objects and how to use them and how that is done inside Java. Then we're going to go into control statements. These are going to be if statements, loops, all these constructs that allow you to have conditional logic inside of your code. Then we're going to go into a little bit more of a complex topic of inheritance and composition. I'm going to show you how to do inheritance in Java and how it works, and then how to also do composition. And it's okay if you don't understand what these terms are now. We're going to cover these in these modules. And then finally we're going to go into generics, which is basically a way in Java for you to be able to reuse a lot of your code to make it applicable to different types. And so this is really what we're going to cover in the first part. Like I said, the second part of the course, the second course, will actually cover some more advanced topics, and we'll get into things like doing file I/O and threading and things that are what we are going to cover in this module. The first thing that we're going to do is talk a little bit about Java. What is Java? How does it work? A little bit of the background and history of Java. Then we're going to introduce a really important concept in Java, which is the JVM, the Java Virtual Machine. I'm going to talk a little bit about virtual machines in general and how they work so you can understand what's going on here, and then specifically how the JVM works, or what the JVM does and what benefit it gives you as a Java programmer. Then we're going to go ahead and we are going to write up a Hello World program. We're going to write this program, we're going to compile it, we're going to talk a little bit about the parts of it and how it works so you can understand what the basic, simplest program that you can write in Java is. Then we're actually going to start to look at some IDEs. And the main IDE that we're going to use in this course is Eclipse. So I'm going to show you where you can get Eclipse and download it and install it. and some basic features of Eclipse. We're not going to go very in-depth into all the features of Eclipse, but I'm going to show you what you're going to need to know in order to participate in this course. And then I'm going to show you IntelliJ, and we're not going to use IntelliJ in this course. We're going to use Eclipse. Both of these are really good products. Either one of them is fine for doing Java development. I'm just choosing Eclipse because there's a little bit of a bigger audience out there for Eclipse. There's a little bit more usage of Eclipse, I think, in general. And IntelliJ is a little bit more advanced. I think a lot of beginning Java developers are first going to be drawn towards Eclipse, and so I'm going to show you that, but I'm not giving a personal preference of one or the other. And then we're going to look at packages, which is a very important concept in Java for separating things out and to be able to put your content into different areas so that you can organize your code. And then finally, we're going to talk a little bit about the Java class libraries. I said Java is big, and in this section you'll see just how big Java is as we start talking about all the things that exist in the Java platform. So let's talk about Java. Well, what is this Java programming language? It was initially based off of C and C++. If you start to look at the syntax and the Java source code, you'll notice that Java looks a lot like C or C++. It's very similar in a lot of the constructs, a lot of the way that you program it is very similar. It's basically designed to be written once and run anywhere. What that means is that you should be able to write your source code in one place and in fact compile it, and then that compiled code should be able to run on any operating system that has a Java virtual machine. And that's kind of one of the design goals of Java. And it's also one thing that makes it really unique as a programming language. It runs on a virtual machine. If you're familiar with C# and .NET, that also runs on a type of virtual machine. The Java virtual machine is designed to be cross-platform, but Java is basically a language designed to run inside a virtual machine. As I said, it's similar to C#. It's going to be a lot of the language constructs. You're going to see an exact mirror in C# if you're familiar with C# and vice versa. So a lot of what you can do in Java is what you can do in C#. C# is probably a little bit bigger as a language in terms of what you can do than Java. So Java's got a little bit of catching up to do, but Java is a very robust language. Java is object-oriented. That means that the main focus of the development is to classify things, to organize them into classes and objects. And Java is statically typed. It is not a dynamic language. It is almost a dynamic language in the fact that it is compiled down to bytecode, and that bytecode is interpreted. So it is technically an interpreted language, but it is statically typed. It's statically compiled. The compiler looks at the types, and the types are defined in the source code when it's compiled. And really, one important thing to know about Java is that it's a platform. It's not just a language. So when you're talking about Java and you're talking about the features and you're comparing Java, really it's all of the things that Java encompasses, from databases to security to file I/O to network, and all the platforms involved. So Java is really just a huge platform of technologies where the language is kind of the central part of that technology. So let's go through some of the history of Java. It's a language that was developed by James Gosling at Sun Microsystems, so that's where it was born, essentially. It was released in 1995, and it was a drastic change. There wasn't really a language like this before, a language designed to run on multiple machines that runs inside of a virtual machine. It was actually targeted initially for interactive television sets, which was way beyond its time in 1995, and then it got retargeted for the web, which seemed to be a pretty good fit, especially with Netscape coming out, and Netscape supporting Java running inside of it through the use of applets, which we don't really see that much today. If you look at the release schedule, you can see that there's been a lot of releases of Java, and it's kind of been renamed and rebranded a few times here. The big thing that happened was with the Java 5 release, there was a lot of actual language changes. Before the Java 5 release, a lot of the other releases really expanded the platform, added more features, but the language changed in 5. So if you're working in some legacy Java code, from 4 to 5 is where you'll see a lot of different changes. And in Java 7 we've added a few more language changes, but nothing too drastic. And then Oracle actually acquired Sun, which of course was the